Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name's Adam Mohammed Usman and I'd like to welcome you to the English news programme on Somaliland National Television. Here to provide you the latest news, let's start with the stories making the headlines. Somaliland Minister of Environment and Rural Development holds press conference. CARE International Organisation implements developmental projects regarding women empowering education in Senag region. Will Obama and the Republicans work together? During a press conference held by the Minister of Environment and Rural Development, Shukri Bandere, who provided her views on the challenges of illegal wildlife trade and its consequences on the environmental, social and economic aspects of sustainable development, which they observed as resulting problems across the country.
During the press conference, the minister provided her views on the challenges of legal wildlife trade and its consequences on the environmental, social and economic aspects of sustainable development, which they observed as resulting problems to the countrywide. The minister sent a message to the government, civil members of the society, and security agencies to work together on eliminating wildlife illegal trade at coastal areas. The minister directed substantial attention to addressing threats posed by the increased involvement in the illegal trade of wildlife, and said that those challenges could only be effectively tackled through the unified efforts of the community to support national efforts. The minister further added that the Ministry of Environment and Rural Development, regarding the Act number of 0498, which is illegalizing animal trafficking, is exerting to work hard on imposing strict network mechanisms enabling acts of prevention. The minister went on to say that the ministry is working to establish appropriate and strengthening legal frameworks and incentives that will facilitate the implementation of multilateral environmental developing coordinated domestic strategies. Such efforts will boost strong actions against it.
The civic registration campaign, which will be implemented across the entire country, has entered its second phase in the Gebele region. The second phase of the civil registration campaign has officially begun in the Gebele region of Somaliland, in 12 districts in the region. The civic registration campaign is gaining momentum in Somaliland as people aim to register their citizenship in this campaign that started in the Somaliland capital and is now spreading across the country as citizens gain a greater understanding into its national significance. The Gebele local municipality initiated a public awareness campaign where they informed citizens of the locations of civil registration points, where the local municipality took a tour of these venues. The operational secretary of the Gebele local municipality, Abdurrahman Noor Abokar, provided further insight into the civic registration campaign in the region, where he stated that over 6,000 people have registered themselves as Somaliland citizens across the 12 regions in this second phase. The operational secretary also added that those people who wish to register themselves twice will be caught due to the biometric nature of the civic registration equipment and software. The Deputy Mayor of Gebele, Abdi Yusuf Gole, encouraged citizens of Gebele to make the most of this campaign at this stage, as it will provide citizens with the means of collecting remittances among other important services. Meanwhile, cultural leaders will play a vital role in the civil registration campaign, where they will identify those people of their subclans or tribes to provide a layer of security regarding authenticity. An elderly citizen of the Gebele region provided her views, where she stated, "I have made my way here in my current condition, where I have registered myself to receive my identification card." The governor of the Senag region took part in an event to unveil a project titled Empowering Women through an education program implemented by the CARE International Organisation in some districts of the Senag region.
An event marking this project has been held at Yufle town and attended by senior figures from the government, including Police Regional Commissioner, Senag Deputy Chairman of Education, members of Yufle town administration and other representative members from CARE organization. Hassan Abdi Shure, who spoke on behalf of CARE International Organization, has discussed about the importance of the project, whereby he said that this project is aimed to empower girls through providing educational facilities, and added that CARE International Organization has implemented similar projects in other districts of the region, where we constructed buildings for education. Mr. Hassan stated that CARE International Organization is on Thursday handling over 13 school buildings to the district administration. The Deputy Chairman of Education and Higher Studies from Senag region, Ahmed Isa Abdi, who spoke on the venue, has on his part discussed the ministry's strategic policy regarding women empowering education, and stated that education helps women to know their rights and gain confidence to claim them. However, women's literacy rates are significantly lower than males in most regions of the country, and we're working ways to balance education for both genders. He further added that education helps women to take part of opportunities that could benefit them, their families, preparing women for the labor force and helping them understand their legal and reproductive rights. The Deputy Chairman, on the other hand, pointed out that the government of Somaliland is working on the country's way forward by implementing developmental programs across regions of the country. Conclusively, members of Yufle town residents have on their part shared their views reflecting on the projects being implemented by CARE and collectively expressed their appreciations.
The governor of the Togdale region, accompanied by senior delegates from the region, embarked on a supervisory visit to some of the districts of the region to assess the living conditions of residents.
The work visit embarked on by the governor of the region was basically meant to oversee the overall conditions of the districts. During the governor's working visit, he met with members of the district administrations and elders to discuss with them about the critical needs of vulnerable groups in the districts by providing drought assessment reports and level of peace coexistence of nomadic and sedimentary communities. The members of the residents also enlightened about the various magnificent achievements made by the districts with and without support of the government. The coordinators of ministries including agriculture, health, education, and some of the other international organizations including World Vision and UNITO present on the districts have provided reports regarding the circumstances on those districts. Another developmental program is being carried out by those organizations, pledging that they will continue their efforts in maintaining such improvements.
Michael Walls, a senior lecturer at the University College London, provided his views on Somaliland in an interview with Somaliland National Television. What's your opinions on Somaliland, and could you give us an insight into other roles that you've played during your time here as well, please?
Sure. Well, to start with, I wouldn't come back if I didn't enjoy it. So my impression of Somaliland is overwhelmingly positive. I really enjoy working here. I've been working here for about over a decade now, and coming back certainly every year, usually several times a year. And the roles I play tend to be in politics. This is the first time I've really been involved in a health organisation, and I think Shifat sort of involved me not because of my health expertise, because I didn't have any, but because I have got a long-term engagement with this area. So in the past, what I've done is I've been one of the coordinators of international election observation. So I was here in 2005, 2010, and 2012 for the elections. I've done research on a number of different elements, mostly related to politics and to some degree to livelihoods, thinking about some of the issues about how people make decisions about not just political decisions but social and economic decisions, about how they make enough to get by. So it's a combination of different things, typical academic, I guess. It's the luxury of working at a university. I can get involved in a number of different areas, but it centres around those two things in the past, economy and politics, and now it's health as well.
That's quite interesting. So you said obviously politics and economy were major aspects that you were focusing on. Where do you see perhaps, in your opinion, from what you've seen so far, what you've seen now, where do you see Somaliland going in terms of politically, and economically? Do you see it developing further, or do you see stagnation on that aspect?
Well, I can't answer that definitively because I don't know what's going to happen, but Somaliland's done a remarkable job of achieving a stability that's been really durable. The transition that's happening is not, a lot of outsiders in particular, but also Somalis call it democratization. It's not democratization. If you think about it, Somali society has always been very democratic, and actually voting for people in elections is a little bit less democratic than sitting around and talking about each issue one by one until you get to an agreement. So in a sense, the difficulty of the transition that Somaliland's been so successful at negotiating so far is that there's a need to sort of accept the compromises that come with voting for someone who then goes away and makes decisions on your part. And of course, a lot of people feel really disillusioned by that because they do it, they go through the election, it's all wonderful, maybe their candidate wins, and then they go away and they do a whole lot of stuff that they don't really want them to do. So they get disillusioned and they say, why, we don't want this government's useless, get rid of them. So one of the biggest political challenges for Somaliland is to see that transition through and try and incorporate, as has happened so far, try and incorporate a lot of the traditional consensus building. So still talk about things beforehand, but that's quite a difficult transition. And the reason it's necessary is because without the consensus kind of system that's traditional, it doesn't really work in a nation state. It works as part of a bigger picture. But a nation state is so much built on having people that represent a bigger population that go and make deals on trade, make deals on all sorts of international things, and you need that representative kind of system to be able to make that function. Otherwise, you end up losing out as a nation or as a political entity.
Musa Hassan Yusuf, head of operations at Shifat, a humanitarian organization leading primary healthcare programs in the Sanag region, provided insight into the formation of the organization and their plans for developing primary healthcare in the Sanag region.
My name is Musa Yusuf, and my background is in public health. I've been working in public health for 12 years, both in the UK and also have been doing some voluntary work here in Somaliland. So the idea of Shifat really came from a number of Somali diaspora health professionals who have done extensive work around public health and health systems in general, have kind of been asking a lot of questions since they've, when most people return to Somaliland or they return home, one of the first things they notice is the lack of basic infrastructure, particularly around health, education, economy, and often most people then go back and say, well, why aren't things not being done about it? So when myself and a few others, particularly a colleague of mine, Halima Muhammad, from the London School of Hygiene, sat down, and we've both been involved in the health systems on various pieces of work beforehand. We said we need to look at where some of the structural issues lie and how we can contribute towards that. So we came and we approached the Ministry of Health, and we were welcomed with open arms, and we were asked to provide support and provide expertise. So we set out from the outset that we said, well, in order for us to do anything, we need to have an understanding of the existing health system. So we carried out a comprehensive health system in most of the regions of Somaliland, looking at 6 areas of building blocks of health system at each levels. So at the village level, the district level, and at the regional level, and looking at what policies, plans there are to try and improve the health system. So when we set out to do that, it was purely on a voluntary basis, but we quickly realized that it's a much bigger picture than just a small project. We need to be thinking as wide as possible, we need to be thinking outside the box, and we need to be thinking, as Michael said, around sustainability. Just to give you an overview, some of the main issues that we found is that obviously there is clear lack of qualified healthcare professionals. There is a huge brain drainage, particularly around the rural areas. the rural regions, particularly the eastern regions. The quality of health service in some areas is inadequate, and the mortality and morbidity, mortality meaning what people die for, is something that is avoidable and preventable. So quickly we realized that as group of diasporas, along with other partners and other supporters, we can do something about it. So that led to Shifat being established as a charity, and also established here as a local NGO, with a clear mandate around health systems capacity building and health systems improvement, with a focus on primary healthcare. So once we set that out, then the next step was, okay, what are we going to do about it? So we came back after a few weeks being away. We came back with an idea or a model that we feel is fit for purpose, that we feel can contribute to improving the healthcare system. So we came back to the Ministry of Health. Again, we were welcome. We were very well supported, right from the ministerial level to the regional medical officers to central staff, because for the first time we were asking critical questions about the health system, what is it the health system is made up of, where is the health system going, how is the health system financed, how is it managed. So we were asking some really critical questions to both the Ministry of Health and also partners, because we have huge partners. We have donors who year on year provide support in aid around targeting some of the main killers, particularly around maternal and mortality and maternal and child health. So it was a great opportunity to sit down with all the partners and the Ministry of Health to have a discussion and to say, okay, what is it about the system that we'd like to see? What is it about the system that we'd like to improve? So that's at the beginning, what we set out to do.
You're still tuned into the English news program on Somaliland National Television, the only Somali-speaking channel with an English news program. And now for our international headlines. US President Barack Obama and the Senate's new Republican leader have pledged to work together, facing the reality of a Republican-controlled Congress following Tuesday's midterm election sweep. Obama sounded out a conciliatory note at the White House news conference. US President Barack Obama, in his press conference, said, "As President, I have the unique responsibility to try and make this town work. So, to everybody who voted, I want you to know that I hear you. To 2/3 of the voters who will choose not to participate in the process yesterday, I hear you too." On Tuesday, Republicans captured the biggest majority in the House of Representatives in more than 60 years and gained a majority in the Senate for the first time since 2006. Mitch McConnell becomes the Senate leader in January and will be Obama's powerful adversary. Mitch McConnell told journalists in his news conference, "I think my attitude at this point is to trust. Trust but verify. Let's see, the American people have spoken. They've given us divided government. The question for both President and Speaker and myself and our members is, what are you going to do with it?" But analysts see battles looming. First, over immigration. Obama still plans unilateral action via his executive powers that could remove the threat of deportation of millions of undocumented immigrants. McConnell has said this action would be like waving a red flag to a bull. There are fresh heavyweight attempts to return Burkina Faso to civilian rule. 3 West African leaders are in the capital for talks with military chiefs on how to achieve smooth transition as quickly as possible. The presidents of Nigeria, Ghana and Senegal are mediating in the crisis after longtime President Blaise Compaoré was forced to leave office. Opposition member Rose Marie Compaoré says action is needed fast. If there is no solution in the next 12 to 13 days, the people will go back to demonstrating. Those who died during the demonstrations should not have died for nothing. But we think that something will happen before the 12 days expire. Blaise Compaoré quit among mass demonstrations over his plans to change the constitution and extend his 27 years in office. With concerns about stability in the country, Ghana is suggesting a transitional period of up to a year before elections are held. And that's all the news we have for you today. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.